Right, this little thing is going to be a cover for the cables that run through the bulkhead. So I've cut 2 of these at stainless steel, and the idea is that I'm going to have half a tube welded into one half and half a tube welded into the other half, and they're going to kind of interweave like that, and then put a riv nut or a pop rivet through it, and then that'll be sealing up the big hole that's in the bulkhead, and run the 2 cables through as kind of my own cable tidy, because obviously it's a lot higher up where I've got the gear tower. It doesn't actually go through the same sort of place that the Focus one runs. So this is the 2 halves all welded up, and they literally just sandwich together like that, and then that'll be on the bulkhead. Also carrying on with the seat mounts, obviously the front one's pretty much done. As I said before, laser cut this panel out with the 4 holes representing exactly where the seat mount holes need to go in the bottom of the runners. So I can use this as like a template, and I'm going to be using steel tube that bridges from the inner sill over to the tunnel, but I need to go over to Lawrence's and pick up some 3mm mild steel so that I can make some little strengthening patches to weld into the car. So I'm welding to 3mm steel and not whatever this is, like 1mm if that, and then off of that I'll make up some little similar mounts to what I've got on the front, but they'll scallop round onto the tube, and then captive and 8 nuts, and then the runners for the seats will bolt into that. Simple as that, in theory. Okay, I just need to whip the my custom bearer off, because a couple of the holes don't line up, annoyingly, that go into the gearbox. I thought I did try it on the gearbox before I put it all in the car, but obviously not, so I'm just going to whip that off and oval sausage hole, open out the holes, and hopefully it will all go back on again. So I've got to jack the gearbox up, unbolt the cradle and take the bearer off. Yeah, in the previous video I'd have mentioned about the little Dremel, and I said you need to get some little carbide bits for them as well, because these act really well for grinding out holes, chewing down material quite quickly. Really good hobby tool that kind of gets you by if you don't have air tools and air grinders and stuff. So annoyingly I have drilled these out already, but they need a little bit more, a couple of the holes, just going to die grind them out. So that's the cradle all bolted up to the car with the zoo speed adapters, and then the bearer all bolted onto the gearbox. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 volts now, which is a way more than what you used to have on the old IB5 gearbox. And the Fandango flywheel still on show. Very nice. And also, just so that you're aware, if for whatever reason this lot doesn't work, which I'm pretty determined to get it to work, but I have already bought myself a backup. It's this bad boy off of Zach. Should spool up like a GT28, should have the top end of like a GT30, but yeah, he didn't really want to sell it to me, but I hounded him, and now I've got this in the backup bin. But this will involve, this is a twin scroll turbo, so I like to involve building a whole new exhaust manifold. I don't intend on fitting this anytime soon, and as I said, we've got to see if these things work first before I go down that route. What's the worst that can happen? It was my birthday the other day, and as always, my lovely wife and family have hooked me up with some car bits. I've got a set of braided brake lines to replace the old ones that were on the car, even though the old ones probably did minimal mileage. Yeah, I've got to redo the whole brake lines on the car. I'm going to run them all inside the car. I figured I could start the process with these. So these are for an XR. I think these are Mark II because they're slightly longer on the front. So yeah, I'll be fitting them. I've also got for my birthday an exhaust silencer. This is a 3-inch diameter, 4-inch external body. I think it's 16 inches in length. It obviously looks a little bit stubby. I don't know how much it's actually going to silence, but it fits quite nicely up inside the tunnel. And obviously I'll whip it round under the sump. The exhaust will come round the sump, under it, onto that, and then we'll carry on out onto my boom tube going out the right hand side of the car. So that's another piece of the puzzle. And I've also got a fiberglass sealed, well not sealed, but a battery box with a lid on it. Before I had a aluminium tray with loads of holes in it, and because they're mounted behind the seats, it's not ideal really to have a wet battery without a cover on it of some description. In the event of an accident, you don't really want to be covered in battery acid, so I figured I'd get one of these. Okay, so these are the back seat mounts. I'm just going to put one fold in them, and then this piece with a castellated little end just locks into that, and then I'll TIG weld them all up with a captive M8 nut in that, and then this will wrap round the tube that's in the car, and I'll weld all of that in there. And I've got these plates to go on the inner seal to give it a bit of extra strength. Cut some with holes in so I can actually pass the tube through the plate and then weld the tube to the plate and the plate to the car. So hopefully they'll all be sturdy enough and hopefully it'll all line up. Okay, so working late again, I have spent a little while chopping up lots more pie cuts out of 3-inch diameter steel pipe. All the pie cuts. And I've started tack welding those together for my downpipe. So this is going to give me what I need to start working out going around the front of the engine and back down the sump. I've also got off of Zach a stainless steel bellow flexi, which is pretty Gucci, so that'll go in along with a couple of V-bands so that I can actually get it all out of the engine when it's all in with the turbos and stuff in the way. I've also kinked and tweaked the grille and spot welded it up, so I just want to take this back and check out the angle that I put in it, so, and then work out ways of mounting it to the front of the car. And also I've hacked up my gearbox engine mount to turn into a turbo brace, so I'm going to plate this end up, TIG weld it all up, drill through and then run a big rose joint, big fat rose joint. I might have to turn some bits down in the lathe and press them in, and then this will be my massively overkill turbo brace, but considering I've got 2 of them hanging off the exhaust, I think I'm going to need it. A couple of 3-inch V-bands should do the trick. As I said, this will make up the downpipe. It's gonna be killer. And also, now that I've got the 6-speed and the gear linkage of the way, my gearbox brace that mounts onto the bulkhead of the engine bay doesn't actually fit, so I've got to redo this end and kind of jump it up and over the gear selector cables that run underneath it. I do still want to try and run this because it just gives the engine a little bit of support at the top. Okay, so in the last video I did a competition for you guys to win a hat and some stickers, and obviously it's 2 weeks have gone and now's the time to kind of do the draw. I think the best way to do that is literally just scroll up and down on all the comments that you guys made on the last video, and I will pick at random a name. Nick Whitney. Congratulations, you won a hat and some stickers. I'll be sending them out to you in the post this week. So that's the back seat mount taking shape. I've folded a bit of 3mm steel over the tunnel and I'm going to weld that all in and then chop the pipe down and weld that to the straddle bit, and then obviously I've TIG welded up the brackets onto the tube, and then I can weld that plate into the inner seal, and using my template, hopefully once it's all welded in, the seat runners will then bolt up where the template once was. So I kind of redid the cable cover. The first one I did had a little gap down here, so I've extended this side of the plate, and also I put a bit of an angle on the tubes that run through the bulkhead because the cables actually run down at a bit of a almost 45-degree angle onto the bracket. So once I've got a couple of decent bolts in that and some neoprene foam behind it, should do the trick. And that's the gearbox turbo brace bracket in the making. Now I've TIG welded that plate on, I need to drill it all up and run the rose joint in the hole. And the downpipe is really starting to take shape, so I've got a really tight, sort of coming back on itself, coming forward over the gearbox, and then into the stainless bellow, and then back down. It's going to go back down the front. I need to get a V-band probably around about here, and then shoot it underneath the sump, and obviously clear the 2 oil returns from the turbos. It's all getting very tight again, and yeah, I've still got to get the radiator in there, the wastegate up here, the screamer pipe back down, and clear the 3-inch pipe. So yeah, and also I need to bang a lambda sensor probably around about here. It's looking good though, pretty happy with it. My little brother got me a nylon gear knob for my birthday. Not the original little black one that I wanted, but I figured I quite like the look of this. It's like a quaif style gear knob, so should do the trick. Well, that's it for another video. Thanks again for watching. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and check out the merch that I've got. A link to the Cartel site below. We've got the Finklers on Horn t-shirts up and running at the moment, and I'm going to be working on some engine ones again, so I want to do some drawings of the old Crossflow to begin with. So as soon as they're up and running, I'll let you guys know. If you haven't already started following me on Instagram, I'm Mike FPE on Instagram, so I do obviously regular updates on there, and also just throw up loads of random 80s race car content. Until next time, I'll catch you guys later. Take it easy.